But that's over, and I think Ray Dalio agrees. And when you are in such a environment, which we haven't been in, anyone living today hasn't been in this environment, at least in the Western world. Yeah, it's very serious. And again, it's one of the reasons why you should have gold. And I know we're going to talk about silver, but gold is very important too. Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Well, today we're going to look at silver. As tomorrow, April 30th, is another silver squeeze day. It looks like these silver squeezes are going to be at the end of the month, every month now. And I want to talk about what's been happening in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. Yes, the blackouts. I think having some cash and some silver especially has become more important than ever. And what I'm going to do today, seeing that it's silver squeeze tomorrow, is talk about the different kinds of silver one can buy. And we're going to go through some of my silver here that I have. And then I'm going to tell you where you can buy your silver if you want. You can use my affiliates or you can use anyone else, of course. I'm not here to force anyone to do anything. But before we start on silver, I wanted to talk about a couple of things that I think is very important. One of them is for you, the retail investor, and it's to do with private equity. And private equity investments have historically been for what's called, I think, investors that are have a certain amount of capital, usually over $1 million. They're accredited investors, I think they're called. But now private equity is in such deep trouble. There's so little liquidity in the market. The cost of financing their leveraged buyouts and leverage operations and how can I say financial engineering has become so exorbitant. And a lot of accredited wealthy investors won out. And I have anecdotal evidence of that. One of my good friends and his family, they felt very fortunate to be able to get out of their private equity investments, and they did it on the 1st of April. And it's a very liquid market. Your private equity investment might be valued at 100, but if you really want to sell it very quickly, they'll only give you, let's say, 75% of that 100. So yes, and it's not just me talking about that. As you can see here, if you Google private equity and press news, first thing that comes up, the Trump, and this is from Fortune magazine, the Trump era has been a bust for private equity. That's one reason private equity is turning to retail investors. How Apollo escaped Germany's private equity trap. KKR and Capital Group seek to lure investors to private markets with new funds. CNBC, they have an op-ed. The democratization of private equity is a double-edged sword for retail investors. No shit. I'm going to say it. Sorry, no shit, CNBC. And it's not the democratization. So what's happening there? Well, what's happening there is that the wealthy investors that have been invested in private equity, and also these companies like KKR, Carlyle Group, and the rest, they're holding the bag right now, and they're sitting on billions, if not, well, hundreds of billions of losses, and they want to pass that bag of rubbish to you, the private investor. You might want to look at it. You might think it's great. You can talk to your friends at a dinner party. Oh, we've got this investment in private equity now. And you might sound really clever. But personally, I would stay away from them as much as possible. Stay away from them like the plague. It's like the plague, in my opinion, private equity. So I just want to warn you about that. I'm not giving you advice, of course, of what to do there. And I don't watch the mainstream media like CNBC or Bloomberg. I do read a little bit about it, but I'm sure these people are going to be pushing it. And I'm also sure there's some lobbying going on. Well, I'm not sure. I know there is. I think Judge Scalia's son, he's a big pusher for the private equity. And I think the Trump administration is going to liberate that for private investors. Beware. The other thing I wanted to talk about before we go into silver is about Ray Dalio, who built the biggest hedge fund in the world from scratch, basically, called Bridgewater Associates. He's on the board now. He's retired. But he's saying here on LinkedIn, and anyone who's LinkedIn can subscribe to his Principled Perspectives. And he wrote this, published it yesterday. It says, "It's too late. The changes are coming." I'll just go through the first paragraph here just to give you an idea of how serious things are. And I agree 100% with Ray Dalio. And that's why I've been warning that the move in gold higher, it's not a melt up yet, but all it's signifying is the end of the current dollar system that started with the advent of the Bretton Woods Agreement. Yes, it was modified in 71, became like a paper standard, but that's over, and I think Ray Dalio agrees. And when you are in such a environment, which we haven't been in, anyone living today hasn't been in this environment, at least in the Western world. Yeah, it's very serious. And again, it's one of the reasons why you should have gold. And I know we're going to talk about silver, but gold is very important too. So he says, some people believe that the tariff disruptions will settle down as more negotiations happen and greater thought is given to how to structure them to work in a sensible way. However, I am now hearing from a large and growing number of people who are having to deal with these issues that it is already too late. For example, many exporters to the United States and importers from other countries that trade with the U.S. are saying they have to greatly reduce their dealings with the United States, recognizing that whatever happens with tariffs, these problems won't go away, and that radically reduced interdependencies with the U.S. is a reality that has to be planned for. Actually, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to put a link to this article below in the description, and if you are on LinkedIn, you can read it. I think the most important thing he says here, and he actually highlighted it, is that it will radically reduce interdependencies with the U.S. Why is that important? Well, interdependencies is when countries trade with the U.S., and the U.S. trades with other countries. Countries receive debt instruments, or they earn dollars, and then they buy treasuries. They keep financing the U.S. The U.S. gets cheap goods. They keep consuming. And that's the whole reason why we are where we are, because the U.S. has been, of course, overspending, underproducing, overborrowing, and now this is all going to change. There's no way back to how it was until before Trump started these tariff wars. And why do I think he's doing it? Well, I think he's trying to do it as quickly as possible because he knows this system is not sustainable. So if he gets it done right in the beginning of this term, the Republicans might have a chance in the midterms and in 4 years' time. But yeah, this is a demolition of the system. You might want to call it controlled or not, but I think that's what it is. And when the monetary order, because this is what Ray Dalio was saying is happening, and he says it's too late, when that shifts, a new order comes in, and the rest of the world, countries like China and others, they're buying gold. And why is that? Well, because confidence in the dollar as an interdependency tool, monetary tool, is shot. And there's nothing else aside from the dollar that will do. Only gold will do, not the euro. I think Lagarde or someone said that the euro might become the next reserve currency. Dream on, Lagarde. So those were the two things I thought were really important. Let's go back to silver and the silver squeeze. And tomorrow I will be calling gold investments here in the UK, Oliver or Simon, whoever is there, to buy some silver. And what kind of silver am I going to buy? Well, I'm probably going to buy Britannia's, 1 ounce silver Britannias. They're coins of the realm, so they don't incur any capital gains tax. Yes, you might not like this guy, but I don't either that much, but I don't care as long as it's silver. I have a lot of these with his mum on it, which is a little more palatable. So that's probably what I'm going to be buying here in the UK. So if you're here in the UK and you want to use my affiliate Gold Investments, all the details are below in the description. Yes, you can deal online, but I would also try to call them and deal on the phone and try to negotiate and use my promo code as well, Monaco64. You get like a 1% discount off the price, online price, and they will always match other dealers. So there you go. What about in the US? If I was an American living in the US, what would I be buying? I'd probably be buying these here, and they're like 1 ounce silver, $1 silver eagles. This is from 2023. I'd be buying these. These are bullion coins, just like these. These are bullion coins, the UK coin and the US coin. Again, if you want to help the channel, you can use my US affiliate, Miles Franklin, and tell them that I sent you there. They always have specials. Maybe they might not have a special for these, but they have a lot of other coins and bars, and we're going to come to bars in a minute. So yes, these are bullion coins, and I have an example of another one. If you're in Canada and if you want to buy silver tomorrow in Canada, and I'm not sure if Miles Franklin deals in Canada, but anyway, you might want to buy maple leaf, 1 ounce Canadian maple leaf. This is a bullion coin as well. So what's the difference between bullion and other coins? Well, the other coins are coins that used to circulate and they're still around. For example, I have a 1 rupee coin from India from 1890. That used to circulate. That was money. So there you go, Queen Victoria. And I have quite a lot of these, you might want to call them constitutional or junk silver coins that used to circulate. And with what's happened in Spain and Portugal and southern France with the blackouts, yeah, it's more important than ever to have not only cash, and I do, recently I have been taking quite a bit of cash out and just keep it in my wallet. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, because you never know. But I think these old circulating coins, you know, a lot of people don't even know what they are, but necessity changes perspective and people learn very quickly. So let's go through some more of these constitutional or circulating coins, and you realize how important silver has been up until very recently. Well, here I have an Austrian silver piece, and believe it or not, it's from, let's see the year here, 1972. So it's 10 shillings, 1972. So the Austrians are using silver until 1972. I've got a Canadian 25-cent coin from 1872. So that might come in handy too. I think someone used it as a pendant. I think there might be, no, there isn't a hole on it. No, there isn't. So there you go. I've even got a Belgian 100-franc piece, and this is from 1950, all silver. The contents might differentiate. They're not all the same silver content, but there's a good page that you can go to. It's called Silver, let's see, Silver Age Coins, I think. Yeah, silveragecoins.com. I'm going to put a link to it below in the description. And you can look at all these old circulating constitutional or junk coins from all around the world, and it gives you the exact silver composition. So what else? Well, for my viewers in the Netherlands, and I know I have quite a few viewers there, here's a 1957 guilder, silver guilder. I think these are quite abundant. I've got quite a few of these here in the UK. And we even got a 500 lira coin, silver from 1966 in Italy. We've got one of my favorites. This is a 1962 quarter, 90% silver from the US. That's constitutional or junk. I've got a Portuguese for the viewers in Portugal. If they're able to watch right now in the internet, I've got an 1888 500 rays silver piece. I've got a 1964 Swiss franc. I've got an Australian 1910 shilling. So these are the constitutional coins. I like them. The junk circulating coins. I also like bullion. These circulating coins are not bullion, but you do have also bigger coins than 1 ounce coins. For example, I have a Kookaburra 10 ounce silver coin. Yeah, it's a big coin. These are really fun. They might even have a kilo coin. And then you have bars. And bars, I would say, are for, if you want to put more money, fiat currency into silver, you get the bars. I've got here a 50 ounce, troy ounce bar, Engelhard, as you can see, 50 ounces. I have other bars, but I'm just showing you this one. And so that's the difference between bullion and the rest. Silver bars are bullion too, so it's a bit confusing. These are both bullion coins. And then if you're like me and you might have participated in sports, when I won this, I never really bothered to look underneath at the bottom here. But this cup I won in Switzerland in golf tournament 1991. I look here and it says 800. So that's silver as well. Of course, I'm not going to sell that unless I'm desperate. So that's all the kind of silver there is out there. And you might even have some silver that you don't even know is silver. Just check like here. It will usually, if it gives you a number like 800 or 925, that means it's silver. but if it's got a knee or something, it means it's not silver, it's plated. So there you go. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to be calling gold investments tomorrow for the silver squeeze. And yeah, that's it. So the other thing Ray Dalio said, as we now look at the markets, is that if you try to time these markets in such an environment where it's too late, where the whole monetary financial order is just imploding, and by that I mean taking leverage to trade these markets, you got to be very careful because it could wipe you out. And that's why I think it's more important than ever to sit tight with your investments. Have some gold if you want to keep your stocks and bonds from, stocks and bonds, I mean from the general stock market. I'm not saying you should sell your investments, of course. Have some gold and silver to kind of give you some insurance. I think that's what is important. And even if you have miners in gold and silver and commodities, beware that they're going to be under pressure as well. But I'm holding mine. I'm not getting out. Yes, there's a danger of the great taking, but I'm comfortable because I've got a lot of my wealth saved outside the system. And yes, gold investments here in the UK, they do provide private vaulting, and they even take you there. You can bring your coins and bars with you, and they'll take you there and they'll put it there and show you, and they'll give you like a signed sealed document, and they'll insure it as well, and the cost is not that bad a year. So that's the way I see things. So right now we've got spot gold at $33.16. Yes, it's down $27, but yesterday it traded at $32.65 or so. The high's been $33.49. So yeah, still a little bit of volatility here. The stock market yesterday was strong early on. It dropped and then it rallied, and this morning it's still fairly firm. But I'm still skeptical about the strength of the stock market, and I'll show you a chart here of the S&P, and this is it's a weekly chart. And notice how in the beginning of March we formed like a flag, and then we dropped massively, and now we've rebounded and we're forming a bit of a flag or even a rising wedge, and that's usually bearish. So I would be careful with the markets and speculating and being leveraged right now. But right now the S&P, for example, future is up 1/3%. Not much to write home about. The currencies like sterling and the euro are down slightly. The dollar is up versus the yen again today. And let's have a look at the commodities. WTI crude is down 1%, 61.17. High-grade copper is actually approaching that 5 level, which is pretty interesting. We had seen a big correction here, but now it's going back up. We're at 490. So that's it. With that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.